Just a simple question. What is wrong with the Jehovah Witness organization's leadership? I mean, this is somewhat unbelievable, and it's kind of crazy that I had to witness this firsthand. Okay, this is the story. About a couple of days ago, my wife gets a phone call, and I could tell it's an elder on the other line, or, somebody, ministerial servant on up. I know it's a guy. And she's talking. Oh, by the way, my wife is back in the swing of things. She's going to the Zoom meetings, and she's plugged into the JW lifestyle once again, socially and all that, despite this COVID-19 situation. But she's getting into the swing of things again. So, okay, we're at this new congregation, and they, we're put into the fold under that congregation. So my wife gets a phone call a couple of days ago, and it's an elder saying, "Hey, we're gonna come by and drop off a box full of food and supplies." So my wife is talking to him and saying that, asking him questions and stuff, and the elder on the other end of the line, I could hear somewhat of the conversation, one-sided, my wife's perspective, and this elder does not want my wife to tell anybody about this. This is supposed to be under the radar, just in case the media gets wind of this and this, that, and the other. Why? I don't know. I figure being Jehovah Witnesses, they love being in the limelight. Why not have this be, known instead of being under the table in this clandestine way? So he was instructed to go to every JW house in his congregation to drop off this box, whether you want it or not. We are not in need. We're still employed. Money is still coming into the household. We can meet all our bills, and we're doing okay. We don't need it. We're not in need. So when I was hearing the conversation, I kind of interjected myself saying, that food should go to someone else who really needs it, not us. We don't need it. Pass it along. My wife relayed this to the elder or whoever it was on the other side of the line. And he said, well, they're going to drop by anyway and just offer it. If we don't want it, go ahead and say so and they'll take it. You can say yes or no or whatever. So, okay, there was no need for this. We already told them, why waste your time and gas money to come to our house to offer this food box, donated food box. But nonetheless, my conspiracy theory mindset of mine just said, oh, this guy just wants to see how we're doing. He wants to sort of get an eye on how we're doing and everything and see if we're, still believing, or my wife is, or whatever. Keeping tabs on your people, pretty much. And this is just an excuse for you to go out and do this. Now, this being a voluntary sort of thing of donating food boxes, I mean, people do that all the time. I mean, there's drop-off locations where you could drive and they'll load the box in the back of your vehicle and things of that nature. And there's lots of people out there that are shopping for elderly people and people of need that are at high risk of getting this virus, where these more healthier people are going out there doing the shopping for them and then bringing it to the house and leaving it on the doorstep. But so there's really nothing wrong with that. I mean, if anything, that's a positive story to be brought out there. But for some reason, they want to keep this under wraps. So that just really sparked my curiosity on what's going on here, why they're doing this. And also deeper down inside, I was like, okay, this particular box is coming from a assembly hall about 100 miles away from here. 100, 125, 150, something like that. And it seems like they're assembling these boxes in these assembly halls, not using regular kingdom halls, maybe as a drop off point for congregations, but for circuit distribution, it's being held in the assembly halls. That's my take, because she did mention that it was in this assembly hall that they were assembling all this and then distributed out to the JWs. And I didn't get into, so why are you only doing this for JWs? Why don't you do this for everyone else and this and that? Because that's just a fight waiting to happen. And I really didn't want to steer this conversation towards a confrontation. Keep them talking. Well, okay, let's hear how, in her words, Jehovah is providing. Yeah, she did say that. It's from Jehovah. I hate saying that name, but so I'm going to refer to him as God from here on out. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, it's from God, huh? And like I said before, knowing how the hierarchy of the Jehovah Witnesses work, I know they don't have a mechanism, organized mechanism to do donations in this particular matter. Usually on the local level, on the congregational level, where the congregates get together and pool their money to send one of their people to Bethel, the plane ticket and all that good stuff, or having a yard sale to send somebody to go to a missionary, which I've participated actually back in the day when I didn't know any better. I think I donated my backpack for them to sell, so these people could go to a foreign country and convert people there. But nonetheless, my wife told them, well, we appreciate the gesture and everything, and thank you, but we're not at need. If anything, she even offered to volunteer to put these boxes together, labor to go ahead and do this, which no matter who you are, in my personal opinion, that's a good thing, because you are actively feeding and helping people in need, whether you're JWs or not. So my wife possibly wants to just take care of JWs only, or the local congregation here wants to take care of the JWs only. Uh, that's fine. I'm not going to play politics here, or you know, or this, that, and the other. You are still helping people, but they don't take they don't take the time to ask who is in need or not. That's just a simple question. I could understand now, playing devil's advocate, why they want to show up to a particular household and offer the box, is so the family that will or will not accept the box will accept the box without anybody else knowing, out of pride or embarrassment, or yes, I am struggling, but I don't want this to be known to everyone else. That kind of an attitude, which is understandable. It happens a lot in real life, so that's okay. And okay, you show up to the door and say, thank you for this box. I don't want this to be known to the rest of the brothers and sisters, but thank you. This will help, and you know that's it. But we flatly denied it, and coming to our house, not to brag or anything, we are in good shape throughout this crisis. A lot more than most people around our neighborhood here. Uh, but we're doing our best to, help out as well. So, okay, they were going to show up the next day just to drop on by. And this gives me an opportunity to sort of meet these guys as well. They were going to come in later in the evening, or, late afternoon. So I'm waiting. I put off all my chores so I could, get to see them and, whatever, and talk to them maybe. And I was actually going to record our interaction. But turns out they came and went. I don't know if they parked across the street or whatever, but they actually came to our front porch, left the food box, and left without knocking on the door or saying anything, or letting anybody know that they've been there and have gone. So, in just that one instant, they dropped the box off and left, even though we told them We don't need this box. Give it to someone else that in need. So my wife gets a phone call from the JWs. I'm thinking it's the same elder or ministerial servant or whoever, and notified her that, hey, they dropped off the box. They just dropped it off and left, and that's it. And on top of that, instructed her not to put this in, especially in social media. This is coming from my wife. She doesn't think anything of it. She said, you know, don't they just don't want to be known or whatever, kind of like don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, in one of a verse in the Bible that about doing good deeds and not taking credit for it. Yeah, but to give her specific instructions not to tell anybody or put it on social media or to boast about this anywhere, and that still bothered me. I mean, this is not JW behavior unless they're hiding something, uh, especially if you're hiding about this. If you're hiding this, if they weren't so creepy and cringy about the situation, I wouldn't have, you know, uh, become curious about it and sort of investigated further on what this is all about. And like I was saying, they do not have an organizational level skill set to do donation in this magnitude, not from like a circuit or district type of organization or level to pull this off. I mean, collecting all the food, putting it in the boxes, and things of that nature. They would have to gone outside their organization to a place like a food pantry or food bank or some other distribution point from a worldly organization, or you know possibly another church organization like the Mormons, which they are big in having extra food stores. From that point, I know that it wasn't a local thing where just congregants got together and pulled their food together and made boxes for in the congregational level. It was higher than that, but this higher level, the district level, is really doesn't have a mechanism for that. They don't do donations. They don't do none of that except donations to money to the society themselves, but not to trickle down the money down over to the people themselves, unless in construction, during natural disasters and things like that. That's the only thing they've been known for to do, not food or anything like that. So I noticed there was a label on the box. I took a picture of that, and I also took a picture of the contents in the box. My wife saw me do that, and she said, "Whoa, what are you doing? You're taking pictures of the box? They said not to take pictures of it. They don't want anybody to know." And I'm like, "Oh, I just was curious about this label here, who it's from, and I was going to do research on what this is all about, because then I was telling her at that point too that the society really doesn't have a mechanism for this type of charity. And she was quick to tell me, "Oh, yes, they do. They just don't tell everybody." So I was like, "What again did you hear this from?" Because I know that's not true. She just blurts out, "Oh, no, they don't," in quick defense of the organization. And at that point, I could tell that she's in defensive mode. So that wall is coming up slowly but surely, and she was being really suspicious of me, and just from the tone of her voice, and I've been married to her for 20 years, so I know all her moves pretty much. Uh, I noticed that she was getting into that JW mindset, persecution mode, and was trying to shut me down, but I just stand back, tone it down, and went off and did something else. And I got onto the computer and started researching what this box was all about. So from the picture of the box and doing a simple Google search, this is what I found out. Trump has released $1.2 billion for farmers to bring their produce over to the table of suffering Americans. So it was a program called Farmers to Families Food Box Contracts, or Farmers to Family Food Box. And they awarded these contracts to, people who are able to make boxes, food boxes, donation boxes, go to the farmers, collect the food, assemble these food boxes, and then deliver them to people in need. Where they go afterwards, after they leave their hands, who knows? Pantries, organizations out there like governmental organizations, nonprofits, churches, I would imagine, because churches are really into, helping their, people in general in times of need, especially when it comes to food. So here you go. The food bank for New York City substitutes donations at Barclay Centers in Brooklyn last week. So this went to a food bank. And all these contractors throughout the United States were awarded money to do this, for the logistics, the supply logistics of getting this food from the farmers to the people themselves. So here is the box that I got from Travel Wells Holdings out of Santa Rosa, California. A company that makes wellness products for airports kiosks receive a contract for $12.2 million, taxpayer money from the federal government, mind you, to make fruit and vegetable boxes in collaborations with other small businesses. Right now, our focus is delivering this generous provision from the USDA, United States, not Jehovah. Indirectly, but not directly from Jehovah like my wife would think, or from the society. So somehow I'm imagining that someone up high in the Jehovah Witness organization got wind of this and are raiding these pantries for these food boxes and collecting them all up and then distributing it only to Jehovah Witnesses. That's just a theory of mine. I mean, they could claim whatever. This is just circumstantial evidence so far. They could toss a bone and go to my neighbors and drop off a box there and say, "Hey, we're good. We donated a box to your worldly neighbor." But 85-95% of the other donation went to their own people without telling them where it came from. So here are all the distribution points, all these contractors. They got $1.6 billion of taxpayer money to facilitate the logistics of putting farm produce to the tables of people in need. And California's right here. And there she is, Travel Wells Holding LLC, the box that I have from the Jehovah Witnesses, dropped off in my house. But truth be known, is coming from a worldly organization, a contractor of that. They're just doing it for the money, pretty much. They wrote a pretty good contract and got awarded this particular thing. And this particular company, Travel Well Holdings, they got $12.2 million to facilitate this need at the present time. You know where that food actually really came from? There's this program because of the COVID. COVID, Farmers to Family Food Box. It was $1.6 billion that the president has released so they could give to these contractors to get produce, farm to families. So on the box, when I took that picture, I was taking a picture of the label on it, and that was a contractor from Travel Wells Holdings, and they got $12 million so they could provide fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, and stuff. So they box it up. They go out to the farms out there, collect all the stuff, and assemble it into those boxes that we see in there. And then they pass that out to churches and stuff like that. So.
What label was on it?
Travel Wells Holding LLC. These guys right here. They're out of Santa Rosa. And that's not a JW organization. That's just some whatever. So yeah. Because I was thinking maybe they were from, families putting their food together and then, like other JW families. But no, they took donations from some other governmental organization. So yeah, you could thank Trump for this.
Oh my God.
But I'm just wondering why they keep it secret, though. Why they don't want to tell anybody.
It's not secret. It's just they don't want to publicize it on social media. Like, look at this, because it's like going to everyone.